thank you for joining us here on the Neutral Zone. I am Phil Milani, joined as always by my partner in crime, my esteemed colleague. Really, the best way to describe this person is my everything. It's that Eric Dalala.
Phil, what's going on?
What is happening?
Phil, on Thursday, we feasted.
Yeah.
Some turkey.
Yeah.
Some ham.
Yeah.
Some mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Pumpkin pie?
Pumpkin pie. Pecan pie. Not you.
Not me.
And then on Sunday,
yeah,
the Broncos
leftovers.
feasted.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
They ate.
Yeah, they dominated.
Yeah.
You know, they just took it to the Browns a little bit. 29-12. Hey, who would have thought?
Scorigami.
Yeah, who would have thought? 29 points on the number one defense in the NFL.
Bro, they ran the ball.
Yeah, 169 yards rushing.
Season high.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
They've been hovering around that 40-yard or 40 rushing attempt mark a lot this season.
That's how they like to do it.
40 rushes means a dub.
It means win.
That means a win in my book. So,
how many? Is this one in a row?
No. Two?
No. Three. It's got to be.
No, I think it's
be more than four, could it?
Yeah.
Is it five?
It's five. Yeah, I think it's five.
In a row.
No, I think it's five.
Woo.
5 in a row. You know what's better than 5?
6.
So we'll have to see how they keep it. They'll have to keep this thing going. But just a dominating win, Eric. All week long, we talked about Myles Garrett. What's he gonna do? 13 sacks on the season. Sean Payton said that the Broncos coaching staff dedicated one night of prep just for Mr. Garrett.
Yeah.
And
it worked.
Game day, he only had one QB pressure, Eric, and that was it. But
2 tackles.
To be fair here, he did not look like he was 100% healthy. Something happened.
We don't know what happened. Something happened.
There were a couple of times where the Broncos did one of those nice reads where Russ kept it, and Myles didn't look like himself. Like maybe he tweaked something, trying to change direction or something like that. He did not appear to be his normal self. But the Broncos really had a nice game plan to keep that Browns attack at bay.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of inside rushes. And
some
then
traps,
and then they did that those reads with Russ, and then it was like, see you later.
It was great. There was one play, Phil, on the Troutman touchdown.
Oh, on the Troutman,
which Troutman
that play, or was it one play on the Troutman touchdown?
There was one play, comma, the Troutman touchdown.
Oh, got it.
Comma.
Oh, thank you. Continuing. Okay.
Yeah. Where Myles Garrett started out on the left. Garrett Bowles is blocking him, blocks him all the way behind Russ, keeps blocking him. Myles Garrett ends up like on the right side of the line of scrimmage.
It was like a block party?
I mean, he did a little, like a semicircle.
Wow.
He ended up essentially where Russ threw the ball eventually, but still got nowhere near Russ. And it was like, did you just enjoy running all over the field?
Yeah, got a little workout in.
And then boom, touchdown.
Yeah.
Adam Troutman said, Cortland, I've been watching what you've been doing. Maybe I'll do that.
That was a very close touchdown. And then Russ said,
we like the close ones.
I think post game Russ said something like, I just had to believe that was a touchdown. When I threw it, I just believed.
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah, he knew. I don't know how he knew, but he knew.
It was one of those moments where as soon as they showed it on the video board,
you just believed
the crowd very quickly was like, that's a tub.
That's a tub. Yeah.
Sean said it was like the people's court where everybody knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, they knew it. On the broadcast, they were joking that, hey, it was a good thing that Troutman didn't go for seconds on Thanksgiving. Otherwise, it would have been out.
Otherwise, his knee would have been bigger.
Well, they were kind of just joking. Or maybe like he took it easy on leg day.
Oh,
they were
sense.
Making some jokes.
That makes sense.
Look, they were making some jokes.
So Thanksgiving,
That's how close it was.
I don't think when you eat on Thanksgiving, it goes right to your kneecap.
Well, you can't target where it goes. You know how you can't target fat loss?
Yeah.
You can't target the fat gain.
It goes to you're like, oh, I got a big knee.
I got big knee problem going on.
Yeah, all that weight went right to your knees. That's kind of what they say.
They say that a lot.
Yeah.
So it could.
Yeah.
That could happen. You just don't know where it's going to go.
That's true.
You don't know. So
some people say
it was a nice touchdown. Yeah.
maybe for him it's the knees.
Yeah, for him it's the knees. So yeah, Sean Payton talked about Adam Troutman. You know, he was like, hey, we're not talking about Kellen Winslow here, which was kind of a nice shot. But then he also just said, look, we like his traits. He said that with Dulcich and Manhurts, they have sort of a defined roles there. You bring in Troutman, and he's able to make plays like this.
Yeah, he has had a couple of big games in a row here after being quiet for most of the season. And I think Adam Troutman is a good, bringing it back to a more macro level, I think he's a good representation of this game, Phil. You don't look at the stat sheet and see that any one guy dominated, right? It's not
That's
like
true. Well, Pirine dominated, but
but he had 50 yards.
Yeah, but he took
But
it
he
to
did.
those
He
are
did. Yeah. And so you don't look at a guy and say, oh, he had 100 rushing yards, he had 100 receiving yards.
That's true. Nobody went crazy.
So Cortland would have been close if that.
Cortland went close.
The OPI,
Yep.
which as Sean said after
That's
the
a
game,
catch. He's going to count as a catch.
He's going to count as a catch.
Yeah. But then afterward, he was like, "Those refs, they got a hard job. I like that crew." I was like,
well, you got to be.
good.
What if you see him later? You don't want to make him grumpy.
That is true.
But nobody, Russ didn't throw 3 touchdowns, though I thought with his legs he was efficient and made good decisions.
He was. He had the one fumble, but
right. But
we
a
don't talk
good
about
play
that.
by JOK. As
nice
they call
punch.
him.
Yeah.
And
he played a. That guy is good.
Yeah, he was about the only guy on the Browns defense that over and over you're like, man,
this guy is something else. Yeah,
I think he led the team in tackles, and he was just everywhere.
He was everywhere. He's a good
thing.
player.
And I think that I don't even really have to check.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know for sure because you in fact think that.
He did. He did. 12 tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, quarterback hit, and a forced fumble. Yeah, that's a game.
He played really well. He a problem.
Yeah, but not that much of a problem.
Not that much of a problem, though.
But what I think stood out to me is that there weren't any individual efforts that were just spectacular and that stood out. Garrett Bowles obviously contained Myles Garrett, and P.J. Locke played well, but it was just kind of a complete team effort where everybody played at a pretty high level. And
all 3 phases.
All 3 phases. And Phil, it got a little dicey there maybe in the third quarter, cut it to 14-12. Get lucky, Amari Cooper drops a wide open pass in the end zone. But after that, and really for with the exception of that one series, the Broncos just kind of pushed them around. I mean, this was a game where everyone talked about how great the Browns were, how physical this was going to be, and the Broncos had their way with them.
Yeah. And Sean Payton mentioned this after the game, but just the fact that the Broncos jumped out to that early lead, that really dictated how the game was going to be played. And, that was a priority for the Broncos heading into this one. Going up 14-0, put a lot of pressure on the Browns. And even though it got down to a 2-point game, it never really felt like, oh, God, they're in jeopardy here. It just sort of felt like, oh, the score is sort of close right now or almost tied. But to me, it never felt like, oh, I'm kind of worried about this. Just because the Broncos, it just didn't feel like all the things that we talked about going in, like, oh, the Browns dominate time of possession. That wasn't really the case. They get all these sacks. They force all these 3 and outs. Like, that just wasn't happening. The Broncos were able to have a couple of long drives. The first 2 touchdown drives, I think they were like 9 and 12 play drives. So they were able to have a lot of success moving the ball consistently down the field. And I do think that they set a tone particularly early, too, with just the way Pirine was running. Man, that was some physical ball there. And then even Javonte got out loose a couple of times. So just a full team effort. But I think that you're starting to see a formula here for success with the Broncos. They like to run the ball here. And this is sort of what we thought was going to be the case this offseason when they go out and add Ben Powers, Mike McGlinchey. You just sort of felt like this offensive line is going to be the strength of this team, and then they bring in Samaje Perine. They found Jaleel McLaughlin. So now they sort of have this 3-headed monster there, running back, where if it's going to be a real physical game, like I remember the Bills game, certainly yesterday against the Browns, it's going to feature more Javonte and Samaje. If it's a more of a speed game, you're going to see more Jaleel out there. And this is sort of the engine that's going to power this Broncos offense. And then on defense, they just keep taking the ball away. Yeah. I mean, they're flying around. They had a lot of physical hits, really set the tone on defense, and they did it all over the place. I mean, Purcell was jumping on balls. Baron Browning was flying around. And you mentioned P.J. Locke there. I thought he was huge because we were like, hey, if he doesn't play, what are the Broncos going to do? He's able to go there, and he's not just out there. Nick Ferguson mentioned this on the Broncos postgame show.
Love it.
But he said, like, look, when PJ's out there, it's not like he's just trying to fill a role and just sort of not get noticed. No, he's out there making plays, and he is a strength of the defense. He's not just another guy.
Yeah. No, on the Browns' first possession of the game, he's got a tackle for no gain and then forces an incompletion to force a 3 and out and really set the tone from a physicality standpoint. And a lot there, Phil, that you talked about, I think, in terms of the rushing attack and kind of how it impacted this game. I would say when it got to be 14-12 and that drive was extended by a PJ Locke penalty, it felt like, hey, you'd buckled down in the red zone again. You'd gotten a stop. It was a big play. And then the flag comes out, maybe more deserved than the Baron Browning hit, but I think still
certainly questionable.
Still a tough,
questionable.
Yeah, a tough call to get in that situation. But at that point, the Browns have now scored on 3 consecutive possessions. They've gotten in the red zone every time. Broncos have gone 3 and out to start the third quarter, and you're hoping, hey, the Browns haven't found something on the ground. DTR was much better on that drive in terms of his accuracy.
Yeah.
And then I thought the response by the Broncos, up 14-12, to go out there, 9 plays, 70 yards, took 5 minutes off the clock. They didn't score a touchdown, but you've got some rushes there where Javonte for 15 yards, Samaje for 7, Samaje for 24 yards, where he just keeps rolling down, get inside the 10-yard line, and push it back to now the Browns need a touchdown in order to take the lead. That was a big moment, obviously, and I think it showed, again, we've talked about this a lot. There have been times in the past where I think this Broncos team, and even earlier this season, they would face a moment like that and they would kind of crumble. And again, this team does not crumble when it faces those moments. And it doesn't mean they're going to win every single game the rest of the year, that there's never going to be that moment where they don't momentarily slip up. But I think there's a toughness there now that they're just, there's a confidence and a belief. And
nothing phases them.
Yeah, and it's impressive. And I do think having that, you talk about that physical mindset, the approach of being able to run over people, that physicality, in a way, it's kind of like how the Titans have been or were the last few years. But I think the key difference there is Russell Wilson and having Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Marvin Mims. I think you've got a big play ability there that maybe like a Titans team didn't have. And so...
And also, I would say, like, for them, it was like, don't screw this up. Like, there's sort of that feel with the Titans, whereas with Russ, you feel like you can just rely on him too.
Right. Like, it didn't feel at times like a team like the Titans or somebody built in that mold was had the capability to blow you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They were just going to play a lot of close games. It feels like this Broncos team, which got better on offense in the red zone, I think still has an ability. I mean, that was against one of the best defenses in the last 20, 30 years statistically, and they put up 29. I think if you play like that, this team, even with the kind of the run, grind it out, physical mentality, they can still put up points and I think put some distance between themselves and lesser opponents. Because I think I texted you last night, Phil, when you let yourself be in those one-score games, sometimes fluky things happen. You're not going to always win them. When you put teams away like this, that's a way to keep a winning streak going.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And, it just feels like maybe today you wake up and you're like, oh, maybe that Browns team wasn't as good as you thought or whatever. No, that's a good Browns team.
Yeah.
The Broncos are just rolling right now. And it feels like the way or this formula that we're talking about, that's something that is sustainable. And it's how a lot of teams win football games in the playoffs in December. Of course, this week it's a dome, but this is a kind of a way to win in bad weather situations. So, I think the Broncos have really found some success here. And I think you also have to sort of credit Sean Payton here, because winning and playing this type of football is maybe not necessarily what you think of first when you think of Sean Payton. But he's been able to adapt to his personnel and figure out, okay, this is what's going to give the Broncos the best chance to win games. And they just continue to stick with it. And, in today's NFL, you're like, gosh, running the ball 39 times. It's like, hey, if it's working, you keep doing it. And that's where the strength of this team is. Javonte and Samaje, those guys are bruisers, and they've got a lot of skill there. The talent is up front on the offensive line. And then when the defense has to adjust, Russ will make you pay with Cortland Sutton. Even Cortland had that one drop in the end zone. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
That was right before the Troutman, or was that on a different possession?
I think that was before the Troutman. Yeah. The next play, and then the next play, I think, was the Troutman. So it didn't end up hurting him, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's Sean. I mean, they brought some guys in here, Mike McGlinchey, Samaje P. Ryan. They brought back Alex Singleton, Ben Powers. I mean, a lot of guys that they brought in have played well, and so that's a credit to Sean and George Payton in terms of the evaluation process. But then a lot of this roster is still similar, and I think both from an offensive standpoint and a toughness, a grit, a resilience standpoint, you cannot possibly. It's Sean. There's no other explanation, right? And so it shows you that coaching matters. It shows you that teams that don't make big mistakes, that don't.
They don't beat themselves. You texted me that too. You're like, this team's not beating themselves.
The team's not beating themselves. The Cleveland Browns beat themselves in some. I mean, the Broncos were physical, but
the ball on the ground a lot.
The Browns didn't give themselves a chance in terms of, hey, it's what was it, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. They get, I think it was 4th down.
Bad
right?
snap.
They get under center with a tight end.
Teams got to stop doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not working.
It doesn't work.
That's 2 fumbles now for the Broncos recovering on those sorts of plays.
Yeah.
Then you've got kind of a crazy reverse play. DJ Jones, that's the easiest fumble recovery he'll ever have in his life.
He should have scored. He said it afterwards. He was thinking about scoring.
Yeah.
I think that was his first fumble recovery ever.
Big dude.
In his life.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. So
you just saw the
you probably got to be excited, like I'm going to get the ball here. He's athletic, man.
Yeah.
He can move for all that weight. He can
play
move.
In Buffalo. He
he's
gets
out
to the edge, tackle in space.
He looked like Justin Simmons out there.
Yeah. So. Went right to his knees.
Yeah.
That's right. The turkey.
It's just taking down.
That was a big play too, obviously, right? Because it's a 5-point game at that point.
Yeah.
The Baron Browning penalty that, to me at least, looked clean, just physical.
That looked clean. His head was up. I think is a big thing.
He hit him with the shoulder.
Yeah.
Didn't make contact with DTR's
he didn't spear
head.
him or anything. Yeah.
He just let go of the ball.
That did not appear to be against the rules of the game.
No. And obviously it took the ref a long time to pull the flag out. And kind of appeared to be determining if DTR was hurt before throwing the flag.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's actually what was happening. But again, that's a moment where this team could have crumbled and you could have let them go down the field. Certainly PJ Walker struggled coming in there, and Vance Joseph sent a lot of pressure after him. But to get that fumble recovery and then score a touchdown to make it that made it a 12-point game, it was over at that point.
Yeah.
It was still technically within reach, but it felt over with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But this defense, Phil, it just keeps finding a way to get those plays. And I think people keep asking, hey, is this sustainable? Part of it, I think that's fair to ask. But again, we talked about this. That's a rookie quarterback, and he put the ball in harm's way a lot.
Yeah. And on the Baron Browning, he didn't protect himself there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just that was a nice play by Browning to step up and make the play there. But he also, the quarterback did put himself in harm's way there. So, but I will say these young guys on the outside continue to deliver too. I mean, Benito had a sack. Jonathan Cooper was in on a lot of plays. On the 3rd down stop before the Browns eventually ended up scoring on 4th down, that was a heck of a play where it was a run and it was going toward the outside. And he just continued with it and took him down before the goal line. I mean, that was a nice play. So, Browning was another force out there. So I do think that those young guys deserve a lot of credit as well.
Yeah, and they played hard. They weren't taking snaps off. PJ Locke, you mentioned him, but kind of like that hit on Amari Cooper at the end, it was just a reminder that this team's going to play physical and they're going to hit you.
Yeah.
And there was nothing dirty about it. It was a clean hit, but a reminder that, hey, we're playing football here. It's still a physical game. And I do think the turnovers can keep happening. Some of them are fluky, right? Like the fumbles, I think to some degree are a little fluky, but the interceptions, I think, can keep coming. And again, you put teams in positions where they're behind or they've got to make a play, or it's a young quarterback. The Broncos face another one this week, even though one of the best seasons a rookie's had in a long time in CJ Stroud. But I think he
hasn't seen everything though.
Yeah, I think you like your chances of keeping some of this success going. They're getting off the field in other ways, forcing 3-and-outs, forcing punts. They're playing at a high level right now, and this team's rolling.
The other thing is, like, if you go back and look at this streak, they've beaten really good football teams here. You know, like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Vikings, the Browns. I mean, these are some very good teams. And even the Packers, I mean, if you watched on Thanksgiving, like that's a pretty good team too, are capable of being a good team.
Yeah,
so
they've won, what, 3 of 4, I think?
They've been playing
beat the
well.
Chargers, beat the Lions.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Phil, the Broncos beat the Chiefs, and the storyline is, oh, Mahomes is sick. And then the Broncos beat the Bills, and the story is, oh, the Bills aren't very good. Well, the Bills just went out and smacked the Jets, and then were right there against the Eagles in Philadelphia.
Probably should have beaten the Eagles, I would say.
Yeah.
Probably should have.
I mean, that looked like a pretty good Buffalo team to me yesterday.
Yeah. No, I mean, they got a lot of talent too, so.
And, you know, the Vikings will have to, they're on a bye this week, but I would imagine they're going to kind of get back to where they were. And this is a Browns team that, even with up and down quarterback play, was 7-3.
Yeah.
Is still in the AFC wild card mix.
They're in the playoffs, I mean.
So it's just kind of, it's hard to believe that 6 weeks ago or whatever it was, we were sitting here and we said, we can't talk about playoffs. Can't talk about any of that stuff.
Just improving.
You know what? Yeah. Hey, can they get a little momentum at some point to the end of the year? And they've just changed the entire tone of the season. And it's for whatever reason this week, the Miami game's been brought up a lot in questions to Sean. And you can tell he's maybe a little bit over that.
Yes. He said this is something we'll bring up for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Which.
Or the media will.
Probably will.
But that feels like a lifetime ago.
It does. It feels like a completely different football team. You know, and at that point, I think Sean said you just got to roll up your sleeves after that. You got to rely on your leadership. And the Broncos have turned this thing around. He said it's cliche, but you just got to take it one game at a time. And up first was the Packers, you know, when they were sitting there at 1-5. So you got to give credit to these guys. They've kept the faith, and now they're in a position here with, what is there, 6 games left here. Now they've got a 3-game road streak here coming up. This is going to be tough, Eric. I think just playing 3 on the road is really tough. Starts out with a Houston team that's playing really good football. Lost this week against Jacksonville, but, you know, Jacksonville's one of the top teams in the AFC. So this is going to be a good test going on the road against the Texans. And then, you know, 3 in a row on the road is, I think that's just a tough stretch here.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that. I believe this is the 9th time the Broncos will, or the 10th time the Broncos will have gone on the road for 3 consecutive road games. They've never won more than 1 game.
It's just really hard
during that stretch. And, you know, if you win 1 here, obviously you'd be 7-7 after that stretch. You'd be looking at a final closing stretch of New England at home, Chargers at home, Raiders on the road. I don't think the season wouldn't be over. You'd still have a chance, but certainly if you could get 2 of the next 3,
it would be good.
You'd be in a really good spot. But that would put you at 8-6.
Yeah.
I think you'd feel good about where you are. And, I think the exciting thing about the Broncos right now is you don't look at any of these teams and say they can't beat them.
Yeah. Why 2? Let's get 3.
Yeah. And I think also the Broncos are presenting a challenge right now that a lot of other teams, like, you know, the Texans play a bunch of different teams. I think that the Broncos present a different challenge just in terms of how much they possess the ball, how they're going to try to run it down your throat, how they're taking the ball away. I mean, these teams got to be ready for a physical fight,
a battle.
Yeah. And this team has you love identity, right?
I do.
You talk about
the
that
media
a lot.
Loves identity.
Yeah, but you're right there with them.
I do enjoy an
what
identity
is this
question.
Team's identity?
Yeah, I think now we know
they've got one.
Yeah,
they're going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, I mean, when you face a team that runs the ball the way the Broncos do. I think that if the Broncos start to have success doing one thing, that was a good
Sean there. Yeah.
Let me talk about what I want to talk about. I'm going to just you ask a question, now I'm going to think about it, and then I'm going to say what I think.
I love that.
I think that say the Broncos start running the ball and it forces the defense to adjust to what they're doing, they're capable of adjusting back and beating you a different way.
Boom, identity.
So this is a nice identity thing here where I think it starts with the run and say like the Broncos start going up the middle. You try to take that away, they'll go out the outside. Try to take that away, they'll beat you over the top. You know, those 2 Cortland Sutton plays where he's just running wide open across the middle of the field there. I mean, there's nobody around him. So I just think that they are capable of beating you a lot of different ways. And Sean is the type of play caller that's going to keep a defense really unease.
Yeah.
Uneasy. Yeah. Is it
on edge?
Yeah, both.
On
a little
ease.
bit of
on ease.
Sort
yeah,
of
on ease.
a nice combination of both of those things.
On edgies.
Yeah, edgies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they are.
You're right. Like I think if they play a team that isn't able to stop the run,
they'll just keep going.
They'll run it.
Yeah.
If they play a team where, hey, it looks like they're going to have to throw the ball 40 times to win and can light the scoreboard up, I think they can do that.
Yeah.
Not every team is capable of doing that.
No.
And the Broncos have some good players right now. Knock on wood. The offensive line is healthy and playing at a really high level.
Yes, knock on wood.
Mike McGlinchey was criticized a little bit early in the season. He's taken a big step forward. Quinn Miners.
Quinn Miners having a season now.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Pancake.
Maybe Pro Bowl Quinn.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. Pro Bowl Big Quinn.
Big Quinn Miners Bowl. Pro.
I don't know.
There's something there.
Yeah, I think we just got to keep working on it. But Phil, this game, I came into it and we talked about, hey, this is gonna be a low scoring game. This is gonna be a tough game. We grind it out. It wasn't.
Take care of business.
You think the defense at all? I asked Alex Singleton about this after the game.
Sick of so much hype for the Browns.
Yeah, you hear all week, the Browns defense is so good. Mike McGlinchey's asked again and again, Myles Garrett, he's so good. Sean Payton's asked, hey, this is the best defense in 40 years. I would think the offense gets tired of hearing that, and I would think Denver's defense too would be like, hey, we're pretty good. We're playing good football right now.
I think that as a coaching staff, you use that as a motivating factor. I mean, you say, let's get these guys riled up a little bit.
Yeah, let's get them going.
I think that Saturday night, Vance is probably using that, I think, to just get them a little jacked up.
Yeah.
Singleton was like that too. He drove Njoku out of bounds early in the game.
Yeah.
And then even when they're out of bounds, he tried to rip the ball out of his hand. And then he was like, this is going to be all day. All day.
This is what it's going to be like.
Yeah. Get ready.
This problem was there for the Browns against Pittsburgh. Njoku, Cooper, some drops.
Yeah. Njoku had some drops. He even talked about it. I guess after the Steelers game, he spent some extra time on the jugs.
Maybe a little more.
Needs to do a little bit more.
But I think those are the plays, again, where you beat yourself.
Yep.
And we don't see, Russell Wilson, I think it was on one of the touchdown drives. Russell Wilson has a nice pass, or it wasn't a great pass, actually, but he gets out of trouble, throws to Marvin Mims. It's either deflected.
It went right through the defender's hands.
It got deflected.
Yeah, that was a tremendous catch.
And Marvin makes an adjustment where it's behind him, and he still finds a way to make a catch. And, hey, if you don't catch that, no one's faulting you. No one's saying that's a drop.
No,
but winning teams make those plays. Marvin catches that. Boom. A few plays later, you're in the end zone.
Would you say playmakers tend to make plays?
I would say players play.
Players play.
And playmakers make plays.
They make plays. Playmakers are out there making plays.
That was on a touchdown drive. It's 3rd and 7. He catches it for 16 yards. The Browns jump off sides 18 times.
Yeah, they kept lining up in the neutral zone. Huh?
We got some good pub. I'll say that.
We got some good pub.
We talked to the officials beforehand. Yeah. We said, hey, could you not call it offsides? Could you say neutral zone infraction? Yeah. They were like, yeah, whatever you guys need.
Whatever, yeah. We put that in.
And then...
so kind of pricey, but we put it in.
Yeah. Ad spend.
Good marketing.
Yeah. Phil, what do you think? We've talked about a lot. We haven't necessarily talked specifically about Russ.
Oh, yeah.
What did you...
Well, 134 yards passing, that's not going to wow anybody, but he made the plays when you needed to, when he needed to, when the Broncos needed him to.
Yeah.
And he did all of that. And I think that he showed his ability to scramble. There was one play there where Myles Garrett was just barreling down on him and he couldn't catch him.
Yeah.
So I think that that factor of the game for the Broncos, that's just an added ingredient that you could just throw in there. Yeah. You're like, what is it? It's cinnamon and also Russ on the edge.
It's like the secret ingredient.
Yeah. You're like, what is this?
Yeah. You got to find a way to use it.
It's nutmeg.
Yeah.
It's sprinkle a little in there and it makes a little bit of complexity. And you're like, ooh, what is this? It's Amaro.
It's amore.
So I do think that that ability to add that into the game plan is huge. that was a big factor early on. And then passing the ball, I thought that he was on point. He didn't have an interception, which has been a theme throughout this entire winning streak. Protect that football. He had the fumble. That was just a nice play by the defender, I think.
Yeah, and really,
you sort of just give
him some credit.
Give him some credit.
And really an impressive play by Russ to even get the first down there.
Yeah.
Before the fumble. Like, that would have been a big play in the football game. I think passer rating, Phil, can sometimes be a little bit misleading.
Mm-hmm.
Russ at halftime was 5 of 12 for 66 yards and a 59.7 quarterback rating. He was right there
winning
with DTR. Yeah, they were winning. Yep. He led 2 touchdown drives. On that one drive, he did a lot with his legs, had the read option, like you mentioned, for a 19-yard gain, ends up scoring the touchdown on the ground. QBR is a different stat.
Different stat.
ESPN's kind of like all-encompassing deal. Yeah. Russ had the 3rd best QBR in the league this week.
Yeah.
And it was his best QBR since he's joined the Broncos.
Oh, that's a nice little stat there.
Yeah.
I just do think that this is how you win football games with Russ. You know what I mean? Like you allow him to have his skill set on display. Like even the Troutman, that's just sort of what Russ does. Yeah. You know what I mean? He runs around and then he puts those balls right
where they
in
need
those
to be.
Crazy spots.
If you're an opposing defense or an opposing fan,
he's a problem.
It must drive you insane.
Yeah.
Last week against Minnesota, you hold him down the whole game. The Broncos are playing not well on offense. And then even on that last drive, they were playing not well.
They were not well.
It's 4th down. He finds a way to get a completion to Sutton, and then it's just like he steps up, boom, Samaje Perine again. Does something.
Perine has been he's been a factor here.
And he didn't get as much play early in the season. And I kind of even wondered, is he 3rd in this rotation? What's kind of going on there? And it appears that there's been some element of, he looked fresh.
They're unleash him.
And he ran that one run that got the Broncos down inside the 10-yard line. He ran through some guys.
Yeah.
And wouldn't stop going.
He picked up a car, right?
Oh, man, I have not heard that.
Yeah.
What type of car?
Yeah. Well, I just think about him picking up a car
Swanson's
and then now thinking about a defensive back trying to tackle him.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah. This guy picked up a car.
So
Swanson's F-1850?
1850, more than a year. He's got that bumper sticker more than a year.
More than a year.
Yeah.
Truck.
It's a big.
On a dirt road.
Yep. That'll take you places.
The Broncos, Phil, one other thing that stood out to me, the tight ends have kind of been for a while an issue for the Broncos. They controlled the game last week against Minnesota and didn't let, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, TJ Hawkinson beat them. Yeah. And then this week, Njoku, 6 receptions for 59 yards. A couple nice catches, but he didn't go crazy.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
He's good, though. He just has the drops. He's big. Yeah. So they've been playing well. I think that the defense also had a different sort of a look. I don't know if you got the snap counts there, but I know you got the snap counts. Yeah.
I don't know.
They mixed things up at linebacker a little bit out there, and they Drew Sanders was in there a little bit more. So they mixed things up a little bit, made things a little more complicated. So I figure they'll continue to do that. You face another young quarterback, make them think a little bit more. You got to play a little bit slower.
Yeah. I think some of that was they wanted to play a heavy front.
They played some heavy fronts.
Elevated Tyler Lancaster, wanted to stop the run and make DTR beat them, which he did not do.
I think Kareem Hunt tried it. He jumped the line and he was on top of Lancaster for a little bit. He's like, what?
That was on a 4th down, I think.
What's going on? What's happening?
It's just one of those games where it almost was like a little anticlimactic after the game because it was just kind of a butt whooping.
Yeah, I liked those.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, hey, Justin, how'd you make that critical game-saving interception? It was just like, no, they just won.
Yeah,
they just went out there and they won.
You just won. Yeah, you're rolling. When you're rolling, you can play some games like that.
In the run
which
game,
is good.
Yeah. Turnovers.
You want a couple tough tests, but you also want some nice, easy ones. Yeah.
I
think it's good.
I wonder when the Broncos' last win by 17 points was.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Hasn't happened this year, right?
No.
15 against the Chiefs.
They're all close. Yeah.
Well, they beat the Chiefs by 15.
Yeah, they beat the Chiefs.
last year. Did they beat the Cardinals by?
They had a couple last year, I think.
But it might be like the Lions game in 2021.
That was a beatdown.
Yeah. And this didn't get to that level, I think, in part because
you didn't need it.
Yeah, in the final 10 minutes, it was like we could push this if we want to, but like let's not mess around. And again, that goes back to don't be yourself. Don't try to just. You don't need style points. The playoff committee is not meeting to decide if.
Yes, it's not the NBA in-season tournament.
No,
which point differential.
Sorry to the Nuggets.
Yeah, they
didn't make it, huh?
I don't think.
I think they had to beat the Spurs by 30 points to make it or something like that.
Oh, really? Yeah. That wasn't an in-season tournament game, was it?
I think it was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What did the court say?
I didn't think that it was. Was it a different court?
I don't know.
I didn't think so.
I was at the Bronco game.
I did see Jokic had a nice little floater over Wemby, and it was like Wemby went up to try and block it. Couldn't get it.
Jokic is what, like 18 inches shorter than Wemby, or what's?
Jokic had 39 on him. So welcome to the association.
Yeah, he said, "Hold up, young MVP."
Fella. Yeah,
hold your horses. Yeah, I'm going to ride around with him in a carriage.
Yeah, exactly. I think he said all of those things.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, people are sleeping on that Nuggets game, but that was nice.
I will. This is kind of off topic, which is on par for this show.
Correct.
These fake quotes that go around now on Twitter.
Oh yeah, those are not good.
Like I think there was one quote from Russ this week.
Oh really?
Where it said he was on the fan and said he was going to go into the Hall of Fame as a Bronco. And these Seattle fans are quote tweeting it. It's not even from a reporter. It's from like
it's just made up. It's all made up.
Brett 6249.
Yeah, you can make anything look like it's a big thing.
You just put a picture, you put a little font, via 1043 The Fan.
Yeah, and boom, you just put it out there.
And these, hundreds of quote tweets from Seattle fans being like, "Man, I was just starting to like Russ again, and he's so ungrateful." Like, use your brain here. Russ,
this is how
who is like the works. Most, deflects credit all the time, is not going on a radio station and saying, I'm headed for the Hall of Fame, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't go in as a team.
But that happened. There was like before the Raiders game, somebody tweeted that Pat Surtain said like, I'm going to lock Devontae Adams up. I'm his daddy, something like that. And it's like, these things go viral, and then other players see them, and then they believe it.
Yeah. Now take that and apply it to politics or really important things, and you could just go
like
a little
the Broncos
crazy.
Win streak.
Yeah.
What if somebody's gonna make a fake quote where Justin Simmons is like C.J. Stroud? Who?
Yeah. What's a
C.J. Stroud?
Yeah.
And then he's gonna see that and be like, and then he's gonna come throw 5 touchdowns.
Well, he's gonna try to do that.
Yeah,
but maybe
he won't.
Yeah, but he'll be like, "Oh, Justin shouldn't have said that about me."
Yeah, but true. Justin wouldn't say that.
No, but maybe the opposite could be true too. Like Stroud said, "I'm going to go.
Ooh, I'm going to light up Pat Surtain."
Yeah, get ready for this streak. And then it's like, what? And then they're like, Vance is showing that the night before. He's like, "Look what Stroud said about you guys."
I just don't know what you do there because you can't stop these fake kind of I think fan accounts. Some of it's funny. But
it's funny, but you got to know it's fake.
Yeah.
You got to be careful out there.
You don't always know.
If it didn't come from the neutral zone, you don't know if you can trust it.
You don't know if it's real.
Yeah, that's true.
But some of them, I'm like, well, maybe that guy did say
crazy.
That.
Yeah. Maybe, it's just close enough.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that was spicy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if I told you Tom Brady was blasting the league the way he did last week, you'd be like, that was a fake.
I think I believe that.
No, Here's
if you said a few years ago, Von Miller got off the podium and said, "I'm going to kill that guy," about the Browns tackle. Now I'd be like, "That's not real."
Yeah,
but I saw that happen.
I saw it.
Yeah,
that's true. You kind of need the video.
The video is important.
You need the video.
Yeah,
Show me, prove it.
Yeah, but deep fakes, man. Who knows?
Yeah,
AI.
It's a tough world out there.
I can make you say whatever I want you to say.
Yes. You could probably just take enough from one of these episodes and then you have a whole film line. That's what some of these guys do that with a Joe Biden, and it's like introduced as comedy and it's funny.
Yeah.
But it sounds just like him.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
What do you think?
We should do that on this program with Russ.
No, I don't think so.
It could be funny. I'm just saying we can introduce it and be like, here's a funny little segment. And then it's him saying.
Yeah, but then it would go viral on Twitter and they'd be like, this is real.
That's true.
We don't want that. We like
viral. We like viral.
Viral, but truth.
Yeah. It's true.
So,
all right. Well, we'll be back later this week with a in-depth preview of this matchup with the Houston Texans. Maybe Ben
Big
Swanson
one.
will be here.
Probably not.
He told me he likes being on this show, and I said, I don't think you do.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, because I saw him at the game.
Oh.
Yeah.
I heard he's heading on down to Houston for a good old-fashioned rodeo.
Yeah, that's what he was.
Yeah, he's going to ride a bull down there.
Yeah, all the way from Denver?
No, he's going to get down there and
get
ride
down
a bull.
there and then ride a bull.
Yeah.
I hope that he can make it to this one.
I hope so, too.
Yeah, Houston, of course.
Got his big boots on, his hat.
Yep.
10-gallon hat.
I heard he was going to go out to some oil rigs down there. And he's like,
yeah.
I'm gonna solve gas
forever.
prices myself. I was like, what?
Gosh.
So what are you talking about?
Political, huh?
That's what he said.
Swanson.
I'm not saying I said
You're not
that.
saying that.
I'm
Swanson.
just saying he said.
Yeah, easy, Swanson. This is a
take it
sports
easy.
show.
Take it easy here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he said. I don't know. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back on Thursday. Until then, for Eric Dalala, I am Phil Milani. You've been listening to
The Neutral Zone.
Listen up, Denver Broncos fans. Paramount Plus is your streaming home to catch every local NFL on CBS game this season. Visit ParamountPlus.com to start your free trial and stream Russell Wilson and the boys as they battle the league's best. Plus, get an all-access pass to 24/7 NFL content with CBS Sports HQ, Fantasy Football Today, NFL Slime Time, and more. And this year, Paramount Plus is your streaming destination for Super Bowl 58. Another action-packed Broncos season with the NFL on CBS awaits. So stream Paramount Plus from any device all season long.